We actually hit it off right away. It was actually my boss who suggested that I go and have a conversation with her. And we had a lot of alignment in the way that we saw things. And she really got me, I felt. I do have to say that once we started working together, it was nothing like I thought leadership coaching would be, though, or executive coaching. She really got what it was like to be a female executive, especially in a male-dominated world. It was clear that she'd worked with other female executives, and they had realized some of the experiences that they had had and how best to handle that, and what worked and what didn't work. It is a lot. I would equate Yetta's style as like part therapy, part coaching, part soundboard, all mixed into one. But she really makes you dig deep and find out like where your beliefs come from. Look into your past, think about how you were raised, what your family was like, where those beliefs came up and how they set your values, and then how, really reflect on that, and then how does that get reflected in your leadership style. It still is a little bit like therapy, but she's no bullshit either at all, which is what I love about her. She's very straightforward, and I really just at the beginning wanted Yetta to, tell me what I need to do. Tell me how to fix this problem. Tell me how to lead these people. And it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It was a lot more self-reflection, self-awareness, which really, I believe, makes you a much more conscious leader in the end. So putting in all that work up front, because you also want a quick fix, right? And it's not a quick fix. I mean, I've been working with Yetta for 3 years, and we meet less now than we did in the beginning, but I also can't imagine not continuing to have that relationship with her. She still doesn't give me the answer, but she helps me find my way forward. That has definitely had a positive impact on both me as well as the folks around me. I'd say that my relationships, both professionally and personally, have benefited from the work that I've done with Yetta. Prior to being introduced to Yetta, prior to being introduced to mindfulness, because she was the one that introduced me to that, there were thousands upon thousands of thoughts that were going through my mind on any given time. And I was never fully present in conversations or in relationships. I was there and I was participating, but I was not like aware and fully conscious of what I was absorbing or what I was taking in as part of those conversations. After making mindfulness a daily part of my practice, I feel much more present. I can see it with my children, the time I spend with my children, and conversations that I have with colleagues. It's hard. It's like a light switch going off. So it's kind of hard to describe, but that's probably the best way to describe it. It's interesting because I've been asked before, kind of, when did I have my like aha moment? And I would describe it, I love yoga. I've been doing yoga for probably 6 or 7 years, but when I originally started doing yoga, my least favorite part of yoga class was Shavasana, when you have to basically do dead man's pose on the mat at the very end of class and be quiet and still for 5 minutes. Because to me, that 5 minutes felt like 30 minutes, and all that was going through my mind were all the things that I had to do after that class. I had to go to the grocery store, I had to take the kids somewhere, what work needed to be done. And I was like, and here I am wasting my time sitting on a mat for 5 minutes, basically being in silence, and it's the most agitating thing ever. After doing mindfulness and really making it a part of my practice, it's now my favorite part, Shavasana is, and that 5 minutes seems like it lasts 5 seconds. And I can really kind of sit and say, what am I feeling? What are my emotions? All these thoughts still come into my mind, but they quickly go right back out. Basically giving myself permission not to let them sit and linger and dwell on them. Mindfulness to me is, again, it's that being able to be in touch with your feelings and your emotions on any given time. It's being able to quiet the multitude of thoughts that are going through your head and focus on the present, focus on the now. Part of it was really going through the exercise of doing it. It's not an overnight. It's not like somebody says, sit quiet and let it, just forget everything that's going through your mind. It's a process. It's an iterative process. And yet it talks about this. It's kind of like diet and exercise. Like, you would love to diet or exercise one time and have it be, never have to do it for the rest of your life. And it's not that way. You have to exercise your mindfulness muscle just like you have to exercise to be physically fit. And so, it's just making it a regular part of your daily routine, weekly routine, and incorporating it. But it is I look back and wish that I had started much earlier, not just in my career, but I feel like in my life. I feel like my kids could benefit. My kids will come to me now. My initial gut reaction is, okay, how can I fix this for them? But Yetta has really taught me, no, just ask them questions. And the greatest thing to see is have them figure out, when I start asking questions and they come to their own resolution themselves, I'm like, yes, they get it. Or I've done it. They don't realize what I've just done, but I did it. The amount of information that are at your fingertips with technology and the stress and anxiety that comes along with that, you've got to be able to put all that down and shut it all off and find a way to deal with it. Mindfulness impacts my relationships the most, both personally and professionally. Fear of failure is one of my biggest ones, and overcoming that, I think I've never wanted to disappoint people, myself included, but definitely I have a bigger fear of disappointing others, and really trying to overcome that, which she has been a major part of in helping me with that. I don't ever want to fail, but I feel like I've realized that it's okay to fail because you learn a lot from failing. I definitely don't stress as much about what other people think anymore. It's, either I'm going to succeed at it or I'm not. And if I don't, I'll go back to the drawing board and try again. There are a couple things that Yetta has said. I call them, to me, they're my Yetta-isms, because there's so many things that she says that I kind of use as my day-to-day mantras. One of them is, may you have loving kindness and compassion. And I may be so frustrated with somebody that all I want to do is scream, and I just say that over and over in my mind and put a big smile on my face. And there's no reason to get upset and out of sorts just because you disagree with somebody. And so, having that constant reminder of may you have loving kindness and compassion always kind of resonates with me. Prior to working with Yetta, we did some 360 reviews at work where we had peers come in and review you. And, one of the places that I didn't get very high marks was that I was not empathetic enough. And of course, I'm like, well, what does that mean? And one of the first things I came to Yetta was this: people tell me I'm not empathetic. What does that mean? Of course I am. I'm a mother. I have children. Those are all the reasons why I should be empathetic. And it took me a while to realize, and I think part of this goes back to the mindfulness and being present, is really trying to not just put myself in their shoes, but just really empathize with the position that they're in or what they're battling or what they're struggling with. Again, asking questions versus trying to fix the problem. So if I have an associate that comes to me with a situation that they're dealing with, it is, first of all, I try and read their body language. I do a little bit of Yetta exercise on them, which I make them uncross their legs, relax their arms, take a deep breath. A couple of them think I'm crazy when I make them do it, and then afterwards, after they've taken a couple deep breaths, they realize, okay, I needed that. Now let me tell you what's going on. And then again, continue to ask questions to them, and I can see those associates coming to their own conclusions and being able to solve the problem on their own, the less they come to me with those types of problems. I feel like I've empowered them to do more. It's so amazing to see the growth that some of these associates have made by giving them, teaching them to fish. And then I can see that trickle down to the junior level associates underneath them. I didn't feel like there was no void in any of this. I never felt like I couldn't be me or that I had somehow changed, not in a positive way or, changed in a negative way. I felt like I had been given the tools to help empower others, be able to kind of carry that on and to teach others the same thing. Plus, it freed me up to do more and take on more, whether it's more responsibility, a different role, new departments, new associates, whatever it might be. The value you would get out of all of this is clarity, self-awareness, presence. I mean, the word that always comes to me is presence, especially now that my kids are getting older. I really value that now. And in fact, it makes me a little sad to think back to when they were younger that I wasn't fully present. I was maybe on a phone call. I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. And now I make sure that I'm fully present in everything that I do. And whether or not it's a reminder, hey, you're walking into this, be fully present when you walk into this. Don't be distracted. Nobody multitasks well. People can say that they can do it, but they're not paying attention to something that they're working on if they're doing that. So if I had to wrap all of Yet up and put it in a box, it would be presence.